Okay, so back in 2021, something absolutely wild happened on YouTube. Mr. Beast released his real-life Squid Game. I mean, we're talking a $3.5 million budget and 456 contestants. The question wasn't just if he could do it, but how in the world did he actually pull it off?
You've got to admit, it's the question we all asked ourselves after binging the Netflix show. But what if it were real? Not life and death, of course, but what if the stakes were still life-changingly high?
Well, that was the premise right there. 456 actual contestants flown in from all over, ready to compete in what has to be the most painstakingly accurate real-world recreation of those iconic games ever.
And the prize? Oh, it was huge. $1,000 for every single person who started the game. A truly staggering amount of money, all waiting for just one person at the very end. And listen to this, Mr. Beast himself said it, and he was not kidding. He and his team built these massive, incredibly detailed sets for every single game. The scale of this whole production was just monumental.
So, the first challenge for the production crew, just managing the absolute chaos. And the first challenge for the players, well, it was just surviving these first couple of games, which were pretty much designed to slash the number of contestants and fast. Now, red light, green light seems simple, right? Run on green, freeze on red. But the way they did it was brutal. They added this really clever twist, a yellow light. It was a totally diabolical move, designed to mess with people's rhythm and instincts, and it caught dozens of players completely off guard. And bam, just like that, nearly half of everyone was gone. In one single game, 224 people got eliminated. Each one had this custom sensor on their shirt that would just pop with powder to show they were out. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. While all these contestants were struggling with their honeycomb cookies, one of Mr. Beast's friends secretly slipped a lighter to a player who had the dreaded umbrella shape. It was a direct callback to a huge moment in the show. And yeah, the cuts just kept coming. After that super delicate, nerve-wracking honeycomb challenge, another 90 players were sent home. To soften the blow, though, every single eliminated player got a consolation prize of $2,000. So as the crowd got smaller and smaller, the game started to change. The focus shifted away from just individual luck and skill, and it moved into team strategy and, well, heartbreaking betrayal. Tug of War was all about pure strength and strategy. And you won't believe this, but in one round, a team pulled with so much force that they literally ripped the set's anchor right out of the wall. And in a cool little nod to the show, the players with the numbers 456 and 067 both made it through this round. But the next game, oh man, this was probably the most brutal psychologically. See, the production team had been watching to see who was hanging out with who. So instead of players choosing a partner, they were forced to play against the person they had become closest to in the entire competition. And this quote from one of the players just says it all. He was actually roommates with his opponent. It just captures how intense and personal it all got. This wasn't just a game anymore. So after that emotional gut punch, the marbles game cut the remaining players in half yet again. From that initial 456, now only 30 were left. And they had just eliminated the person they trusted the most. All right, next up was the one everyone was dreading, the glass bridge. It was probably the most terrifying game from the whole series. But before they could even step on the glass, they had to earn their spot. To thin the herd one last time, the 30 survivors played Dakchi, that paper flipping game from the show's opening. The first 16 to succeed got to move on, while the other 14 were sent packing right then and there. Now, watching this play out was fascinating because you could see how the strategy just completely broke down over time. At first, players moved pretty cautiously. But then, with about 8 minutes left, a standoff started, a classic game of chicken. That lasted until the final minute, when pure panic set in, and it just turned into a mad dash to the end. So when that final buzzer sounded, only a handful of players had actually made it across. 4 more were eliminated simply because they didn't reach the finish line in time. And just like that, we had our final 6. Before the final battle, the last 6 contestants got treated to a steak dinner. It was like the calm before the storm, a moment for them to reflect on their insane journey before one last game for all the money. But here's the thing. Everyone thought they knew what was coming next. The players, us watching at home, we all did. But we were all wrong. They weren't going to play the game they had all been preparing for. Yup, musical chairs. The grand finale was musical chairs. And the reason? Well, it was actually genius in its simplicity. They chose a game that had zero cultural barriers and needed no explanation for anyone. It was a move to make sure the final round was universally fair. And so, after 5 games, hundreds of eliminations, and just incredible moments of luck and betrayal, it all came down to this one last game.
In the end, it was player 079 who was the last one standing, winning that life-changing $456,000. But look at this chart. That huge prize was honestly just a fraction of what it cost to make the whole thing, which was over $3.5 million. I mean, this whole project was an incredible feat of logistics and pure ambition. We've broken down how they did it, but it kind of points to a bigger question, right? As budgets and ambition just keep getting bigger and bigger, what does this level of spectacle say about the future of entertainment? It's something to think about, for sure.